Hey, this is Max. I'm back with another CSR2 video. This season's Prestige Cup card, the Silvia S15 Rocket Bunney. This is a good car. I'm going to give you a complete review of this car based on what I have discovered, and that includes the Stage 6 effects, the speed traps, as well as the sprints, and a discussion of its ability to make it through Tempest. Now, at 625 pp where I have the car set up. This is not the most optimal setup for this pp range. Obviously, the most optimal setups generally involve stage 6s, but here is a no stage 6, 625 pp setup that I have the car at. You can obviously set it up in different ways. You could tweak it where you reduce some of the other parts to get to the same number, but I have it set up this way just because it's the way I tend to tune for Tempest when I don't have all stage 6s. Now, the car is very good at sprints. So it makes for a good Tempest 1 and 2 car because it also is relatively fast. In fact, fast enough to pretty easily beat Tempest 1 and 2 final times. Unlike some other cars that would basically struggle without full stage 6s to get through the final times in Tempest, this car is fast enough that it would make it through the Tempest challenges, especially 1 and 2. Now, 3 is a little different. To make it through 3, you need speed traps, and that's something this car does not do as well at. While it's really good at sprints, it is relatively weak at speed traps. So if you look at Tempest 1 and 2 Tier 4 final times, the Tempest 1 boss runs a 13.39, about a 13.39 or 13.2 for the final run. So in the beginning, it's more like 15, 16 seconds. Here at 625 pp, you're already looking at a 13.7 time. So this car will make it through Tempest 1 with just full stage 5 because by then it's already down to a 12-second time. Now, that means also it would be Tempest 2 final boss time of about a 12.3 flat to 12.99. Let's just assume 12.8. It certainly can be 12.8 without much of an issue. And looking at Tempest 3 speed trap times, which requires at 625 pp a 0 to 60 of 3.5 and 0 to 100 of 5.0, no problem at all. Where it does run into a problem is that the speed trap, even at 625, is 190 miles per hour. This car does not like speed traps. In fact, if you look at it real quick, I'm using the launch button, but it doesn't make a difference. If you look at it, it tends to kind of fall flat near the end. It just doesn't want to accelerate into higher speeds. Let's do the traditional stuff. We're going to use nitrous late, okay? So I'm going to use nitrous in fourth, which is a later gear for this car. But notice how little it accelerates at the end. Also, with only 2 point something second of nitrous, you just don't have enough nitrous to push it beyond that point. With stage 5 nitrous, this car is going to struggle a lot with any kind of speed trap, and it's just not there when it comes to top speed. Even with a little bit longer duration, as you can see, it doesn't really make that much of a difference dyno wise. What you could do, of course, is you can always do the lower this to get higher that, but notice it's really not a significant amount, unlike some cars where it would jump probably 5, 6 miles per hour. This is barely moving 1 or 2 from 172. So nitrous, um, now you can try to stay a little bit here with the gearing to put fourth to where the car tops out. That certainly is a tuning method for the car, and it could work to help a little bit with the top speed. But again, not a top speed car. So Tempest 1 and 2, this car is relatively easy to use. Tempest 3, I would not recommend it for top speed, but I would certainly recommend it if you're stuck on a sprint. This car with full stage 5 only has some impressive sprint time. So let's put it to stage 5 only, and let's take a look what it does. So here we have full stage 5 full fusion. If you're wondering where I got the fusions, Nissan GTRs, buy them, strip them. You probably also pulled plenty of them over time if you played long enough. Nissan fusions are one of those fusions where you can easily get them from the dealership by stripping cars. So there's no reason for you to be out of Nissan Fusions or not have any available. And certainly if you don't, it's not that hard to get some. Unfortunately, the GTR is the only source. So when you buy it from the dealership, it's about 500,000. I think 400,000 each. So you will be spending some money. There's no way around that. All right. So let's take a look at stage five. At full stage five, and again, without specifically fine tuning it, you're looking at about a 12.1. I may be able to get a little more out of it. I'm not playing with it too hard here, but we'll talk about that little Evo drop there in a minute. So this is using the top gear to accomplish the highest Evo. So as you know, we had A91, A90, A91 anyway. If you do this, you can get almost close to the same, if not better. Notice that? So fourth gear, it actually likes to top out in fourth gear rather than fifth gear, and it can do a little bit better that way. So can we squeeze another point or two out of it? Maybe. Let me try. There we go. So you're talking about almost a mid to high, well, very high 12s, I should say, or because this car could be dyno a little bit if you drive it right. So let's just say if we get it perfectly, we can get a high 12 out of it. But that's stage five is about a 12.9. Now, Folding Max, this car runs about a 10.9, but dyno's at 11.01. So there's almost a 2-second variance for stage six. That means those stage sixes are going to be important. You're not going to get away with just not having stage sixes or not having the right ones and then being able to get really much faster. But again, as full stage five, it's almost good enough to beat Tempest 2 boss in the final run. It's going to need at least one stage six to really guarantee it. Again, I didn't do as well there with the run, but here at 638, we're still not anywhere near 190 miles per hour. And that's the thing about this car. Regardless of what you do with it, it's hard to get more mile per hour out of it. Oh, good. Now you get another point out of it. There you go. 13.037. But again, about 13 seconds at full stage 5. That's good enough for Tempest 1 and 2. As I said, Tempest 1, you don't even need any more. You can do it just like this. Tempest 2, of course, you have to tune to specific PP points, so you're going to want some stage 6s. So what about the stage 6s? Well, let's start with generally some of the stronger ones. Okay, nitrous is almost always a big stage 6, particularly for these tier 4 cars. Many of them rely on it. And this is no different, I think, for the Silvia. The Silvia is going to need a good amount of nitrous to push it. Let's see. So dropped from a 13.0 to 12.59, about a 0.4 drop. And that's without fine tuning it, which I think I can squeeze probably a little more out of it now that I have nitrous. Okay, let's leave it at 1037 here. Let's play with the tire a little bit. So 1040 puts us to 12.578. So that's pretty good. It's not quite a half a second, but that's over 0.4 in time. And that's nitrous. Now nitrous, if you use it right, should be able to also get you a little bit higher top speed. So let's try to see if we can push the top speed a little bit more over the 178. So, and you hit a wall, 185. Now I can shift into fifth, but I think the speed's actually going to drop. Maybe we'll shift into fifth and be able to hit 190. That's a possibility. I'll give it a try. Again, Speed trap is going to be the struggle for this Prestige Cup as well for most people, especially if you're not fully built or you don't have stage 6 nitrous or you don't have the fusions. I'm not sure what the final speed trap might be, but let's hope it's not something near the 190. It might be though. All right, so I'm gonna go shift into fifth. See, notice how it doesn't get better? It actually got slower. That's the issue. So you're not gonna get really high speed traps out of this car. It just doesn't want to do it. But look at that, 0 to 60 and 0 to 100. With just stage 6 nitrous, that will easily beat the final Tempest 3 sprints. So if you're doing Tempest 3 with an NSX and you get to the speed traps near the end, that's no problem for the NSX. But the final sprint of 1.4940 to 60, that's a problem. Okay, a lot of the cars that can do 260 miles per hour simply can't do that 0 to 60. This car can come in and take on that job and take care of it for them, no problem. So this might be your choice to go with for the sprints. And this is a very good car all around for any kind of sprint for Tempest 1, Tempest 2, and then also Tempest 3. Okay, so that was nitrous. Nitrous is quite good. Uh, let's take a look at body. What you always want to watch for is that Evo jump. If the Evo jumps up, the PP jumps up, it's a good stage 6. If nothing moves or the numbers actually go down, that's probably not a good stage 6. So with losing the nitrous will definitely hurt a little bit, but a little bit of tuning could get us back towards a higher number, hopefully. Not always. So this right now, we're kind of stuck at 995, 642. That's not going to be as good as nitrous. That is about a 2.5 tenths drop. Not terrible, not great. So for unlike a tier 5 car or many tier 5 cars, body does help, but it's not that significant. It's not bad though. 2.5, 0.25 drop is still a good drop. So that's a decent one. It's not great, but let's move on to the next one. Now, what I found is with cars that already have super grippy tire or super fast acceleration like this one, having more tire doesn't usually help it that much. So I don't think tire is going to be that strong. In fact, it's not. And putting more grip just hurts it. Putting less grip doesn't help it. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of stuck either way with this thing, and it's not really going to make a huge significant difference in the performance by playing with the tune in the tire part anyway. Now you might be able to play with this a little bit, maybe push it a little, but again, as you can see, it's not significant. So tire is not that strong. 12.890 is like a 0.11 drop. Well, no, 0.14 drop actually, because we were at 13.038. So it's it's almost compared to most stage sixes over time, I would say this is probably one of the bottom three at this point. So tire, not that sharp for this car. This one should have a significant impact. Transmission tend to be big for a lot of tier 4 cars. In this case, doesn't look promising yet. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be good. Let's take a look. Ah, on par with tire. That's pretty bad, actually. I'm surprised. Maybe a little more grip. I mean, it'll beat tire by a slight bit, but that's not very impressive at all. Surprising. Usually transmission's a pretty good stage 6. In this case, so far, nitrous and nothing else. Everything else is okay, but not great. And certainly tire and transmission seems to be disappointing. That doesn't bode well. You know, we have 2 seconds to drop from 13 to 11. And so far, these stage sixes don't look like they're going to do it. What that means, though, what that means, unfortunately for us, is that you're going to need more stage sixes to get into the 11s. In case the PC Cup ends up there, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for many people. 12.686, wow, that's a good one. The engine's almost as good as nitrous. That's impressive. That was not expected. So this time, engine is top two. In fact, Engine might be able to eke out nitrous. Let me see. I doubt it because nitrous was in the 12.5 range. Engine right now is still in the 12.6 range, even with additional tuning. But over 1,000 Evo means it is still quite impressive. So that's very good. That's not as good as nitrous, obviously, better than body, and falls in between right now at number two. So engine, nitrous and engine, number one, number two. Body, currently number three, and then we'll see if either turbo or intake can actually surprise us with a top three finisher. I don't think so, but you never know. Ooh, well, that's a lot of PP jump. Oh, wow, that's impressive. Turbo may surprise us today. I didn't usually think turbo would be that strong, but this looking like turbo is not bad at all. Is it going to be better than body? Wow, 12.704. It's really good. It's better than body. Turbo is now number three. So right now we're talking nitrous engine turbo. Look at that. Look at that. Nitrous engine and turbo. I don't think I remember turbo being that strong in most of the other cars. I got to think back to my other tier 4 cars, but I don't know. I don't remember at the moment, but that's a surprise. Think about it. Two fusions, a traditionally terrible stage six, just came in top three. That is very surprising. Would intake also surprise us like that? There's a possibility here because with trans and tires sucking so bad, wow, again, intake and turbo finally steps up to shine. I'm actually not going to cry when I get an intake this time. Look at that. Well, I already got it for this car, but I'm just saying. On my other account, I just pulled the Silvia, so I'll be looking for stage sixes just like everybody else. 12.773. Not bad. It's definitely good for an intake. I mean, intakes usually bottom. Right now, trans and tires lower than turbo and intake. Unbelievable. I'm actually surprised. You know, we don't get enough tier four cars. Thank God, actually. But sometimes these different tiers, the different stage sixes have completely different effect. And in this case, looks like the intake turbo and engine's quite important as compared to tire and trans, which since we've been doing a lot of tier five stage six effects, those are usually very strong in tier five cars. But in this case, with this car, tire and trans actually comes in weak, and body isn't as impressive either. So really the good ones are these guys, the turbo, the intake, the engine, and nitrous. These four right here is actually better than the other ones. So intake is still number four, but let's put number three, two, and one together. Combination effects. Let's take a look at that Evo jump. That is going to be impressive. That's probably going to be low 12s to high 11s at this point. I would say low 12s on dyno without tuning. High 11s, wow, surprised me. 11.9. So 11.9 to 12.2 may very well be a possible, or 12.3 even, may very well be a possible final PC Cup time. Now, this car, unfortunately for us, is not the first time that it's a Prestige Cup car. Why do I say unfortunately for us? Because generally speaking, if a car's been around once as a PC Cup, Natural Motion will make the Cup a little bit harder. They figure a lot of people already have the car, some fully max like I do, and therefore this kind of number should be no big deal for us to hit if they go that route. My experience has always been that the PC Cups tend to be 1 second at least slower than the actual time that the car can run maxed, if not up to 1.5 or 1.2 seconds slower, depending on the margin of error from stage 5 to stage 6 to start with. So in this case, we got a 2 second difference between fully maxed and stage 5. So a 1 second or 0.8, 0.9 second drop from maxed is a pretty fair number given that it's already been a PC Cup car. Can it be tougher? I don't think it should be any tougher than 11.8. That's really pushing it for a lot of people. And can it be as easy as a 12.2, 12.3? Yeah. If they're following their recent trend with easier PC Cups, I would not actually be surprised to see like a 12.3 final time. But 11.9 to 12.3 is the range I'm guessing this is likely to fall into. So now we looked at the three strongest. Let's put the rest in and compare them to these three and see where we're at with that. We know these two guys, unfortunately, is not very strong. Body's okay, but not great. Intake is actually surprisingly good. You got a nice, decent PB jump again and a decent amount of Evo, over 1,000. But is it enough to match the other three? Not too bad. 12.197 with 4 or 11.9 with 3. So again, I'm thinking really this range isn't likely to get much easier than this. It will be too easy for some people. Of course, we're also assuming full fusion here. Without fusions, you might be at 12.3, 12.4. So 11.8 to 12.3 possible PC range. Personally, I would put my bet closer to 12.0. That's just where I think it'll fall. 12.0 something or 12.1 something. Low 12.1, high 12.0s would be probably where I think this PC Cup's going to end up at. So that's the combinations. You got the faster combination, slower combination, ones with 3, ones with 4. But obviously, if you only have two stage 6s, you're going to be kind of struggling to meet anywhere near a 12.0 final time. If it is a 12.3 final time, of course, two stage 6s full fusion might be possible. Again, pretty hard unless you get the specific ones and definitely the right ones. So let's take a look at this car fully maxed. Fully maxed, this car is about a 11.0 dyno, okay? And it can run under that if you know how to drive it. I'm not that good at it, but let's just see. Let's just put it to, I believe this is the spot. I believe this is the tune. 11.02, whatever, close enough. Um, so if you get to this point in the tune, you have a 11-second flat car that could potentially do 10.9, but that's a world record. So I'm counting on doing about a 11.1. I have not had any fancy driving techniques with this car. I just drive it like this and just watch the numbers roll. 11.0908, I think that run was. Um, oh, 016. Woohoo! Not too bad. That was pretty close to dyno. I'm happy. Okay, so 11.0. 11.0 is actually a good time even for live lobby because technically you're supposed to be in the 11.1 lobby to 10.9, but most people actually are probably initially going to be from the 11.3 lobby that you're running against. And if you're doing 11.0s, you get away with winning for a bit before it technically kicks you into a faster lobby. But you can always bump this down a bit and get yourself into a slightly slower setting. Let me see here. Yeah, right about here. Okay. This is not going to be dyno by a huge amount, but now you're definitely in the 11.3 lobby, and you will now still have the ability to run about a 11.1. If not a 11.0. I mean, you can't botch the launch. That's the key here. So I'm sure there's some good videos on how to drive this car. I'm not going to be the guy to look at for that. most of my cars drive well because I tuned it to be dyno, so I don't have to drive it that well. 11.0 again, um, on a 11.2 tune this time. So a little bit slower than that run, but again, I didn't drive it that well. You could probably get 11 low, mid, low 11.0s on the same dyno tune of 11.2, which makes it a winner in live. And if you're not bumped up, then you're pretty much okay. Now, the problem with running a fully maxed car is the computer knows what your car can run. If you go out to live with this car, even with the 11.2 dyno, it doesn't mean that you're going to get opponents running that slow. You may still end up with a faster run opponent. Let's just take a look here who I can. Oh, only two opponents? Wow. Where is everybody? Let's try again. Here we go. Okay, let's see. 10-second cars, 10-second cars. Guy like me. 10-second cars, 10-second cars. Yeah, so you may or may not have an easy time in this lobby. It really depends on what your opponents are running, but most of these guys can run faster than 11. And that puts you in the position of potentially being a little bit at risk here of getting beat. Whoops. All right. Let me see if I can find somebody just to. Oh, here we go. LBR8. Now, that's a pretty fast car, too. The question really isn't whether how fast it is what lobby am I in? If I'm in the 11.3 lobby, I have quite a good chance of winning this. And if I'm in the 11.0 lobby, then this guy could run a 10.9 and beat me. I am winning. I am going to slow down. Okay, so I think I am in the 11.3 lobby because he was a ways behind me. Wow, he ran an 11.5. I don't think I'm in the 11.5 lobby, but it's possible I am. So I slowed down to my dyno just to make sure I'm not triggering a bump too quick. But here you go. It's a situation where either he ran poorly or he's in the wrong lobby, or I'm just right now in a very favorable lobby. I don't know yet. A typical way to find out is running an F40. Um, let's see if I can find it. Oh, or an NSX. Those two guys. If you can beat either of them, you're probably in good shape. So let me see. I do not see a. Oh, there's NSX, but he's busy. Okay, Rocket Bunny. RBRX7s can be tuned to beat Dino by quite a bit. Although at this point, with the RB, I may have a pretty good chance. We'll see. This is going to be a pretty decent matchup. Depending on how that RB RX7 is tuned, I could have a really rough run. Okay, I don't know what happened to my launch there. That seemed a little funky with the delay. However, I am still running ahead of him, and I kept it close. Again, I should be running a 12.2 something. 264, 332. Yeah, so I'm in the 12. I think I'm in the 11.3 lobby. This seems to be pretty consistent on these runs. Okay, all right. So this is why I deleted this car, because I know I can kick it into this lobby, have pretty decent chance to win. 1200 Evo means you make good RP. I'm looking at 1700, even though it lies, and I'm actually only getting about 12. But you're getting full, almost full RP for a tier 4 car. Even a tier 5 car, without purple stars and elite bonuses, wouldn't get that high a point. I'm actually getting about 1300, I think, per race. So that's pretty good. It's the reason I deleted this car for tier 4 for Tempest. The reason I didn't use this car for Tempest 3 tier 4 is because of the lack of speed traps. It just won't do it. But it's otherwise a very good car all around for map racing, live racing. For a tier 4 car, I'm certainly not complaining. Is it better than the F40? Is it better than the NSX in live? Well, yes and no. Tuning obviously to defeat Dino by a little bit narrows the margin of error between this car and F40 and the NSX. All three are very good live race cars in Tier 4. I would recommend any one of the three for you if you have the parts and the Fusions. But Nissan Fusions, again, easier to get than some, just like Ferrari is easy to get, whereas the Honda ones are very hard to get. So this car is definitely a good Tier 4 car, very viable, easily defeats Tempest 1 and 2, and could be elite for Tempest 3 purposes because it will run under the target time. Now, even for Tempest 3, I believe the final run is only a 12.2. You got an 11-second car. You don't need all stage sixes. You can still beat the final boss with this car. So if your car's pretty built, and you have a not so built NSX or F40, you can use that for speed traps up to the end, switch to this car, and finish off Tempest 3 with the final 0 to 60 and final run against the boss. All right, so that is a complete discussion of the S15 Rocket Bunny. I know I rambled on quite a bit here. It's a lot of information. I'm going to try to break it down with the uh, when I redact the video with some picture-in-picture stuff that'll mark the different information down. But bottom line is, I like this car. I like it enough that I deleted it. It's one of the few Tier 4 cars that I actually like. I'm not big into Tier 4, as most of you probably figured out. I tend to focus on Tier 5 cars. But this one is very good. The other thing is, I don't know how many of you guys are Nissan Silvia fans, but this is the Mustang of Japan and basically the drift car um, of choice for many guys. Most of us obviously cannot get the S15 Silvia that we're looking at here. This was only a Japanese released car, not in the US. I was a owner of an S14 Nissan 240SX, which was the Silvia in Japan as well. And the S14 is also a rear wheel drive car that many people have bought, modified, and had good success as a drift car. Good luck finding a clean S14 in the US nowadays, though. They're all either wrecked or rusted away. So that's unfortunate. Mine's no longer with me. I kind of miss it a little bit, but you move on. So seeing this car in the game does bring back memories, and certainly there's a really big soft spot in my heart for the Sylvia. And I'm very happy that they finally introduced one that does not suck. Hey, let me know what you think about this car. Ask me questions if you have some. Again, I think Speed Trap is going to be the struggle for the PC Cup for many of us. I don't know what they're going to set them at, but if it's anything near 185 or 180 even, I think many of us are going to be a little irritated trying to hit it. As always, if you like my videos, please subscribe to the channel. This way you get notifications when I make these videos. I make them on a regular basis every season whenever I have a PC Cup or Gold Cup car available to make videos with. I did not buy the Formula Italia cars this time around, therefore I don't have videos on those, but some other YouTubers do have them and have done videos on them, so feel free to look around for those cars. And as always, I appreciate you guys watching my videos, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.